And assalamu alaikum, peace, love, and blessings, everyone. It's your STEM Gents, Brilliant Engineering Street Cardiac, back on the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. Tonight, we have a beautiful, beautiful show for you all. We have our dear brother, Malik Inkatha of the Bowtie Holder, also software engineer and urban farmer. We're going to get into all our brother does and more. Tune in for more after this. Let's get it.
Believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them heavy.
Again, welcome back to the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. We do our best to highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics across Black and Brown diaspora. We are live, family, right now on YouTube at the STEM Files. Again, YouTube at the STEM Files. Make sure to go, subscribe, like, and comment, and share with all those in your networks. Again, if you are a teacher, a STEM enthusiast, just someone who is interested in learning about the world around you, this is the platform for you. I am your humble co-host, Jabril Muhammad, aka Brilliant Engineer. I'm a civilian mechanical engineer with a focus on naval ship fluid systems and a background in material science and engineering, the study of the various material classes and how they can be utilized for different applications, making things stronger, lighter, faster, etc. I'm always happy and humbled to be amongst the living and to have these educated and high-level conversations, joined by my co-host Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. What's going on, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always happy to be on the STEM Files, bro. My name is Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I'm a biomedical research scientist with a concentration in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. As you can see, this is a very well balanced program. We have the life sciences, we have the engineering representation, and tonight's episode, man, we got a powerful inventor. He's a father, a husband. He's a tech farmer. He's a tech, excuse me, a software engineer and a farmer, as well as the inventor of the Bowtie Holder. Now, family, before we get started, we're gonna go ahead and play a clip of brother interacting with Golden Child, talking about this amazing product. Family, check it out.
GC, you on that 5, man? They ready?
Yeah, I know, man. This bow tie won't stay up, though, man.
Did you bend it? You got to bend it.
Yeah, come look at it. I think I got it. Come look at it. I think the clip may be broken. I'm good?
No, sir.
Oh,
No,
hey,
sir.
man, I can't go out there like this, man.
I mean, you know I got the bow tie on, right?
What you talking about?
Keep your bow tie up.
There's a bow tie holder.
Let me show you. Take your bow tie off for me real quick.
There's a bow tie holder.
One go underneath, top, just like that.
You've been waiting to show me this,
I'm
man.
waiting to show you, man. This is revolutionary. This is revolutionary. One for the other side, just like that. And now, let's see your bow tie. Turn up for me. You're on the 4. You're on the
Malik,
4.
man, what did you just do, man?
You're on the 4.
Hey, Malik, come back real quick. Real quick. You always do the same thing? Let me see.
It'll never fall again. It'll never fall again.
Come on, man. Wow.
I ain't gonna hold you. The not switching the bow ties back can go crazy.
Right.
I don't
That
know
was the
why,
ultimate.
but not coming back with the same bow tie is insane.
Right. Y'all forgot to give each other bow tie back.
Yeah,
Praise be
man.
to Allah.
In that clip, I want to shout out to, an excellent brother. His name is D-Row, Maker
D-Row.
Studios, man.
Yes, sir.
D-Row, he shot that video. Man, I asked him, would you be willing to shoot the video for us? And he was like, absolutely. He came with the tripod, and I was like, cool, got the tripod, put the camera on top. I was like, okay. And he had an attachment for the back of the camera, and then he had an attachment for the front of the camera, and then he had an attachment for the top of the camera, and then just really, we shot once, and he was like, we got to shoot from this angle, this angle, this angle, highly professional. And that whole clip wouldn't have been possible without him. So I want to shout out to D-Row and Maker Studios on that one.
Absolutely. And then we got multiple levels of STEM interacting in one. We got an invention, then we have the visual aspect coming together with our brother D-Row and his videography and his cinematography that he does with all the beautiful pictures and video that he does of our events in the Nation of Islam, etc. So D-Ro, I remember when I met him and Sister Kenya in Houston for the first time together. Beautiful couple and beautiful brothers. So all praise due to Allah. So without further ado, brothers and sisters, family, this is our brother Malik Inkatha, based out of Chicago, fellow FOI, the Nation of Islam, as well as myself and brother Tariq. We want to present you to all, introduce to some, our brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, alaikum salam, sir. Pleasure. Excited to be on the platform. As you know, some of you may have had an opportunity to see the intro video. My name is Malik Inkatha, also go by the Tech Farmer. I'm a husband, a father, software engineer, and a farmer, and saw an opportunity to solve a problem. All of us FOI, if you FOI, you struggle with your bow tie at some point in time, or you've been having a deep conversation with a brother, and the brother hits you with the brother, your bow tie, right? You gotta hold on,
just
lean real quick. Yeah. So, starting with an engineering process, first starting with a problem, right? What problem do I want to solve, and then continuing to work back from there, and just iterating on different ideas, because oftentimes the first solution that we come up with, we implement it and it doesn't work. We find out it doesn't work, but it's the tweaking and the refinement process that you actually eventually end up getting to something that works, and works for a large group of people. So excited to talk today about tech, engineering, the bow tie holder, farming, whatever we want to get into today. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. So Tariq, bro, if you let me take a step back, I'm always big on giving context. So for those who are unfamiliar, brother, can you talk about, first off, the bow tie, right? So a lot of people, when they wear a bow tie, a lot of men, it's a more formal thing. You tie it, it goes around your neck. But for those who are familiar with the Nation of Islam and the FOI, we don't. Ours are typically clip on. So can we talk about, first off, why the bow tie as a member of the FOI Nation of Islam, and then what becomes the unique situation as far as where the bow tie holder comes into play? So why the bow tie? What purpose does it serve? Why the clip on? And then that lead us into how you kind of came up with the holder from there.
Absolutely. So the bow tie is the trademark of the FOI. FOI also wears straight ties, but the bow tie is our trademark. And one of the concerns that we have with the tie-on bow ties is that it can be used against you. If you're in a situation where somebody wants to choke you out with your bow tie and you have that tie on, you essentially have a weapon that your enemy can use wrapped around your neck. So, we in the Nation of Islam, we wear, the clip-on bow ties to avoid that. So if a man goes to grab your bow tie to choke you out, he's grabbing bow tie and then you're giving him fists, right? So one of the issues that we run into with the clips oftentimes is, there's a multiple issues. One of the main issues is that over time, when you're constantly bending metal eventually breaks. Right. So the clip breaks, right? Sometimes the clip may get weak. So it may start falling over on the left-hand side and you have a leaning bow tie, right? And it keeps leaning. Another issue is the clips. When you're sliding them onto your shirts, oftentimes the inside of your shirt will begin to fray, right? So you'll have a nice, clean, white shirt, and then it'll start fraying. And you can actually see it if you decide to wear that shirt with a straight tie. You almost feel like I can't even wear it anymore. So that's the reason behind the bow tie. The reason behind the bow tie holder was it's our trademark, And nowadays you have the wide collar white shirts that make it difficult to wear the bow tie, especially nowadays. So I wanted to come up with a way for us to still be able to wear the bow tie comfortably, and do it in a way that's fashionable and it's exciting. It takes our culture and breathes life into our culture, in the Nation of Islam. So
yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
I'm sorry. Just the last thing I wanted to say, as brother brought up, the material term when you talk about fraying, you talk about weakening, is really material wear or fatigue. So over time, due to cyclic loading, I'm doing the same motion over and over and over again. So regardless of how strong this metal is, if I continue to bend it in, out, in, out, in, out behind the bow tie, it begins to weaken, and now you have to get a replacement. And what our brother's been able to do, which is really dope, is obviously, as long as our Nation of Islam exists, he has a product. So for those of us who are looking into business, looking to invention, innovation, being able to tie your product to a current institution that has longevity and has a level of vetted history is going to be very key to the longevity of your product or service. So absolutely. So brother is really on it. Tariq.
Yeah. I totally agree. And and I'm glad you talked about how it affects the integrity of the collar, right, of the shirt collar itself, because I was reading some of the comments after I posted the you and the brother outside Mosque Mariam, doing the demonstration, and somebody in the comments said, well, just buy a point collar and you'll have most of those problems will go away. And in truth, yeah, it will go away, some of those problems, but over time, like you said, with the integrity of the shirt collar and being able to eliminate the need for eliminate the chance of your shirt collar, eventually wearing out is evident regardless if it's a point collar or a spread collar. So we do appreciate that clarity. And I wanted to talk about the ability for it to hold, right? Because I brothers, we drilling, we soldiering, we on post or whatnot. Sometimes we may be running, ducking, dodging, whatever, so so you may see a brother jump over a limousine or something like that on a detail or something like that, right? So talk about how it holds up. Like, so if I'm drilling or if I'm doing something that requires a lot of activity, does it stay in place or does it, fall off if enough shaking is applied?
Yes, well, it absolutely stays in place. And this goes back to one of the first things I mentioned is like the first idea that I came up with did not work for all these different use cases. It can hold the bow tie in place, but when we're drilling, we're out moving in the community, we're talking to people. The initial concept was too weak. It didn't work. So continuing to work with the manufacturer and find something that actually can hold up in all of these different environments. You want to detail moving in and out of cars, taking off seatbelt, putting on your seatbelt. And the perfect test for me was actually with Golden Child. He was performing in Milwaukee, right? And he had the bow tie holder on while he was performing. And he's talking to the people. He's like, I got to get down and speak to the people. So he jumps off the stage. So I got to get down to the people. He jumps off the stage and he's going like talking to the people. Bow tie is pristine, the entire performance with no issues whatsoever. So that was, to me, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is perfect. This is going to work.
Praise be to Allah. If you don't mind us asking, what was the original design concept of the bow tie holder?
Yeah, the original design concept was to actually use a collar stay, and use a magnetic collar stay. But the problems that I ran into actually was with the design of the shirt. So with all of the different shirts, the collar stay where it is in the shirt is not in the same place. So it would need to, if I were to do a collar stay, it needed to work with certain shirts. And that just wouldn't work. If a brother gets these, he wants these to work with all his shirts.
Right.
He wants this to work with all his bow ties. He don't want to have to buy a particular shirt. So that initial design did not work. But that's what led me down the journey of wanting to figure it out.
Gotcha.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because when you have a product such as this, and then you have the pointed collar, different types of pointed collar, different size nexus, etc. And also the customizable nature of the Maliks, like you can actually put them in different places, turn them around, have them straight up and down, however a brother likes it. So customization is a very desirable trait when it comes to a lot of these smaller items in the fashion industry, in clothing, what have you. So now, as opposed to having, I got to buy this distinct thing to use this, I can use this for more or less, regardless of what I already have, and I don't have to go and spend extra money. So it's something that you can use at all times. So that's a beautiful aspect as well. So variety is another thing that we want to look at when we're designing, we're inventing something. So thank you.
That's right. The last thing somebody want to do is buy a certain product just to use it. That's a negative. But you want to already have what you need when you're buying something. You don't want to have to buy something else to buy something else. It's crazy. All right, so let's talk about invention, right? Invention is the whole theme of today's episode. We're talking about Black inventors, the importance of Black inventors, right? Before we get into that, how has the response been from the FOI, especially in Chicago, when it comes to the Bowtie Holder? How have they received your invention or your innovation?
I want to say thank you to the FOI because the response has been incredible. You know, I really couldn't have asked a lot for more. It's been 100% supportive. Brothers have been patient, especially the brothers in Chicago, because they got that initial load of bow tie holders, and were patient with me. So I had an opportunity to work things out with the manufacturer. They tried them. They tested them out. They was like, oh, maybe this could be a little better. Maybe this could be a little better. At a certain point, they were a different shape. And I remember bringing those to the mosque and, you know, brothers trying them out. And then they stopped wearing them. So I was like, okay, that's not going to be good. That's not going to work. Because if it was going to work, they'd have continued to wear them.
Right.
So the response has been incredible. We set up the website. The response all over the nation has been incredible. We got orders from Canada, orders from Mississippi. Really, y'all are going crazy with the bow tie holders. Praise be to Allah. Thank you, Mississippi, Texas, Florida, California, of course, New York. It's been great. It's been great. So we're shipping all over the country at this point, by Allah's grace, and shipping international as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you talked about what states are really supporting you, right? Because with invention and with any innovative product, the market is important and who you're marketing to, right? So how confident were you that this product would do well among, first and foremost, the FOI? And then you also have some of those who are not members of the Nation of Islam who are intrigued and love this product. So talk about the market. Talk about how confident you were in the product's ability to sell.
Yeah. So the confidence came when I realized that in person, people were willing to purchase them. And not only purchase, but use them. And they were excited to use them. And I was constantly getting feedback from people saying like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. So testing the market, I had an initial batch of 100. Well, backtrack, actually. I had an initial batch of 5, right? And I brought those 5 to FOI class. And I looked at it, the first couple brothers I saw, was like, here, look, put this on, bam. Oh, look, put this on, bam. And I'm putting it on all the brothers in FOI class. And then the whole class, they're walking around to the brothers like, brothers, look, you got to see this. Look at this. You got to see this. Right. And then the people's minds is, you know, shocked, you know, looking at this thing. And a lot of people were excited. So as soon as I got home from class that day, I figured out how I was going to package it. I made a logo, you know, put the whole thing together, just ordered everything. And when it came, there was so much excitement among the FOI in Chicago just to get them. You know, every time I come to the mosque, I'd be like, man, brother, do you have them? And I was like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. Just be patient. Just patient. And then as soon as it came, you know, the brothers, they purchased them. So that was the sign in me when I saw the excitement. There was a desire to want to purchase. It was almost like a wait list. Like if you make a product and it's online, you know, you see people signing up for the wait list. They're asking questions about it. You know, they want to know more about it. That was a good sign to me. That I realized, like, yeah, this is going to be really successful.
Please be too long, bro. You got something, bro?
You know, I just want to say, you know, it'll highlight the importance of having an already warm market to pitch an idea to be patient with and actually allow you to engage the engineering process properly. One of the biggest aspects of the engineering process is the iterative aspect, or the cyclic aspect, when I be able to, okay, this doesn't work, come back to previous steps, okay, and then come and then tweak something slightly, and now we get to a new aspect of process, or something, we tweak something, now we come back again. So being that you're an FY Nation of Islam, being that you use this yourself, and being that you have those who love you, want to see you succeed, and will be patient with you, is something that is so powerful, because you know you're going to give a product that has been tried and tested, and people have given you their honest feedback before you put it out into the world. So that's beautiful. Where do you see this? And I want to kind of go into the fatherhood side of this. So for me, I have a 11-month-old son who'll be 1 year old on July 22nd. It's actually the same day as my wife and I's wedding anniversary, 5 years. Right. My wife is also pregnant with our daughter, who is due August 20th. Can you speak to legacy as a father, as a family man, and one who is striving to create a legacy for their family and children. Where does the bow tie holder fit in that? And what's your plans for moving forward to make sure this is something that stays within your family?
Beautiful,
That's
beautiful
right.
question.
Need that. Pass it down.
Yeah. So as a start, the whole family is involved in shipping. You know, my son, he's 4, he'll be 5 this year. So on the business aspect of it, getting him exposure to packing and explaining, you know, what this is and how it came about. Because the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said something in a theology of time. He said, if you give a man a thing he cannot maintain, you're wasting your time. So not just the transfer of assets, but also the transfer of knowledge that allowed the building of those assets. That's the first thing. So there, and then also continuing to develop the idea, right? So that it can grow and we can, you know, reach a larger market share. So at the moment, with the way the bow tie holder is, it has the expectation that you already have the bow tie with the clip, right? So I'm working with an engineer to not only change the bow tie holder, but to also change the bow tie. Right. And then manufacture something completely different that's accessible to the wider market that they could purchase together, not just purchase the bow tie holder, but also purchase the bow tie. Other things as far as securing the legacy, obviously there's patents involved, right? Obviously there's making sure that you have the business structured the right way. Obviously making sure you don't fumble the bag, right? And end up messing the whole thing up, and the whole thing goes bankrupt, and you end up losing the idea. So all of these things, are things that are in motion.
And that go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, bro.
That key part, the patent part, right? Because that's another frequent comment on the videos. I'm sure people are reaching out to you saying, bro, protect it. Just want to make it clear to everybody, it's patent pending. So if people watching in the comment section, kind of, we're going to lay off on the patent questions for now, but we will say this, and this is something we were talking about before we went live. Mm-hmm. When you're selling a product, that's a layer of protection. It may not be the best, but it's a layer. There's multiple layers to protect the product. The selling it, distribution, getting it out there, and of course your provisional patents, and then your actual patents, right? So if he's selling the product, and you can elaborate more on this, Malik, selling the product, having it out there and people are purchasing it, people are seeing it online, and somebody else comes out with it, it'll just be competition rather than the same product. But Malik, you expound upon that a little bit.
Yeah, because so when I showed the initial idea to brothers in Chicago, that was like the main thing that people were saying. It's like, man, you really shouldn't sell it or really shouldn't roll it out until it's completely patented and everything. But that really wasn't the initial goal. The initial goal was to solve a problem. That was the initial goal. And in wanting to solve the problem, I wanted to get it out as fast as I possibly could and get it in their hands and figure out how they're going to use it and figure out the problems with it, right? Because there's problems in shipping, right? There's problems in just educating people on how to take care of them. So getting it in people's hands is more important than figuring out, I have this idea, I have this thing here that I know is great, and I want to protect it at all causes. And I want to say this properly. Focusing more so on solving the problem and less on scarcity and wondering like, oh, someone's going to steal this thing from me, right? Being in a creative mind and saying, I want to make this product as great as it possibly can be. I'm still going to do the work necessary to protect myself and protect my family and build something for the future, but focusing more on the creative aspect. Because if I had waited until everything was squared away with a patent, right? I just waited and sat on it for a long time, we wouldn't be having this conversation. People wouldn't have bow tie holders. They really wouldn't know what it was, and I may have missed the timing. Who knows? I may have missed the timing. So timing is everything. And if you have an idea, don't be afraid to solve problems for people in the nation. Like sometimes people, like one of the pieces of feedback that I heard was, this idea is too small. because it was just initially it was strictly focused on, you know, the problem with brothers and their bow ties in the nation. But when you look at these large conglomerates like Facebook and Google, they all started small, right? We start small like everything in nature. If you look at Facebook, Facebook started, it was college students at Harvard. That's it.
Right.
Just
That's
college
all they were
students
worried
at Harvard.
about.
That's all they were worried about. They ain't worried about nothing else. Just college students at Harvard. And then they moved from college students at Harvard to college students in general, right? And then once they conquered the market for college students, then they began to roll it out to the general population. So here, like if you have an idea in your mind and you see a problem in your mosque, in your nation that you realize you can solve, like realize like there's a base of support here that will support you on executing your idea, right? And then from there, once you have that base, that root is shot down, you can begin to look and say, okay, how can I go about creating something that can solve problems for the larger market, right? And that's the space that I'm in now. It's like, you know, by the grace of Allah, the nation has supported me. Now I bear witness. They have supported me. Now I can begin to figure out, okay, how can I make this product and reach a larger audience?
Absolutely. I just want to say something to that comment. One of the things I find interesting when you talk to people in business that have been around for some time or been successful, that you always hear this term niche down, niche down. Sometimes we try to do so many things to try to tap into a bunch of markets where the focus should be trying to do one thing or a smaller thing very well. You look at a McDonald's, for example, and whether it's a fried burger, what have you, there were specific things that it did very well before branching out into extra menu items. So whether this product is the one that is something you stick with for long periods of time, or it's an exercise that leads you to something greater or something different down the line, it was important that you took that thought and moved out on it, because we're taught in Nation of Islam there's no such thing as an original thought. So
that's right.
I know for a fact, and I have literally seen different either attachments to bow ties already made or things where brothers have tried to solve this problem. Where it was one I saw, there was like these tabs on the back of a bow tie and they like kind of tightened or things like that. So if Allah blessed you with this idea, with this thought, and if you did not move out of it, I'm 100% sure that someone else would have thought of something similar, right? Now, the way I look at it, and when you were talking about problems or issues, man, one of the things that came to my mind is, and I don't know, obviously it's a magnet of sort, but then you think about corrosion, right? So you come out and let's say, you know, we be out in different elements. So let's say it's raining or what have you. You know, there could be an issue with, you know, trying to figure out, okay, what type of coating could be utilized so that these kind of stay weather resistant, right? Then you think about if it's cold, right? How does that impact? And we know magnets, you know, they kind of can change properties and get more attractive in colder weather. So there's a lot of things that go into that, the aesthetic of the packaging, all those things. So as you can see, my mind is going, there's so much that this small idea can give birth to. That's a good place to be, because now your creative mind can really sit and think about how to expand. I'm thinking about either how you make them kind of like almost like a novelty thing where they're different shapes, different designs, or what have you, where so you can either have the bow tie on or not, but you still have something that kind of decorates the collar, you know?
Yeah.
So that's something as well. But all praise to Allah. That's really dope, bro.
Yeah, and
Crazy to Allah.
That is so valuable, being able to produce other things from one product. You know, when Bill Gates and Steve Jobs when they innovated these technologies, they were already here. What they did was they made it better, in a sense, so remixed it, and then began to make a variety of products from it, right? So that is the power of innovation. You know, people think of you know, all of the negative things that can come from a product, right? People need to start thinking about all the possibilities.
Positives,
right? All the many things that can come from this. You know, not just, you know, a lot of times too, people just be hating, like straight up. Like they know that this product is going to sell and be successful in the mass, and they pocket watch it. Let's be real. You know, so you're going to have a lot of that, and then you're going to have a lot of people who have legitimate concern. But we have to first and foremost think about the possibilities, right?
Yeah.
All right, fellas, let's go ahead and acknowledge some comments or some people in the comment section. We got Sister Sabrina from Richmond, Virginia, right here in my city, right on the Ministry of Health team. We got Lowell Rich. We got Brother Damon X Johnson out in Cali. We got X-Man. And of course, we got some more people coming through in the comments. But family, we at the 30-minute mark. So that means it's time for the Final Call newspaper. Let's go ahead and play a clip.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
Peace. This is Naya Muhammad, a future architect, and you're watching The STEM Files.
All right, family, that was the Final Call newspaper. Jabril, what's this week's edition about?
Yes, sir. Again, family, this is the Final Call newspaper. It is a message dedicated to the resurrection of the Black men and women in America and the world. To get your digital edition, you want to go to finalcalldigital.com to follow and learn about all things Final Call newspaper. Follow at Final Call newspaper on all platforms. This week's edition, Europe's racial reckoning. The fatal police shooting of a North African teen sparked anger and protest in France as racism, far right wing, and anti-migrant sentiments in European countries escalate. One of the things I just want to highlight from this is, we're taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan that we're in a time really that is separation or death. A lot of what we see, a lot of what we hear, a lot of what we feel is really a result of us not heeding the call of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not heeding the call of the Nation of Islam, where we're really striving to create something for self that is independent of a racist mind and a racist paradigm. So when we see this in the Final Call, and it highlights what's going on around the world from a Black-centered understanding and a really non-biased paper of truth, we really should acknowledge and really listen and take our time to read and to engage in dialogue and conversation. So, family, if you're in the Chicago area, you can definitely tap in with our brother Malik to get your physical edition. If you're in the Philadelphia area, you can tap in with myself, become one of my customer base. And if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, definitely tap in with my brother Tariq Cardiac, the Final Call newspaper, and that good news you can use.
That's right. Appreciate that, beloved. We also got some more people in the comment section. We got, we already did Brother Damien. We got Brother Elijah X and Brother Jabril X Al Kabir from the Al Kabir squad in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yes, brothers are out soldiering today too. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. All right, family. So we got so as we mentioned before in the earlier part of the program, we talked about the many things our brother is involved in. He's a software engineer and a farmer. So we're gonna talk about farming a little bit. Jabril, we have a clip of our brother doing some things in the hoop house. And before I show you this, family, I want you to open your mind. Especially for those of us in the nation who are well versed on how to live, I want you to open your mind, expand your mind. That's what this program is all about. And not do a whole lot of prejudgment, and just watch the video, and then we're gonna listen to our brother as he talks about his agricultural endeavors. All right.
Come on, Brother Street. Get at the bean soup scientist. Let's go.
Yeah, bro.
So we're here in Hoop House 1. Had an opportunity to transplant some kale and collards today. People really love kale and collards. They almost evaporate. So they start off in little seedling trays like this here. Little seedling trays. And then when they need more space, move them to the larger pots before transplanting them outside. Now, this is a very important process when starting your seeds in the winter. Because if you start them outside and they frost, you'll end up losing everything that you planted. So we have a lot that's ready to go outside. So hopefully, we pray to Allah that the winter breaks
and we'll be able to get the kale and collards and cabbage and all these plants that are in the brassicas family outside and ready to go. So we're here in Hoop House 1. Had an opportunity to
All right, bro.
plant.
We appreciate that, bro. Yeah, so family, as you can see in the video, our brother is also has a green thumb. And in addition to his software engineering background, which we're going to get into a little later, and as well as the product that's the main focus of the show. And in the video, he's mentioning, you know, collard greens, you know, kale, stuff like that. So brother and I was chatting it up before the show went,
and
went
cabbage.
live. And cabbage, right?
Cabbage.
Excuse me,
Don't
my
talk about
bad. But now for those who are like,
too.
Right. So for those who are like, well, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us not to eat kale and collard greens and things similar to that, right? So, Brother Malik, can you go into first and foremost your history with agriculture and being in doing this type of work, as well as why you decided to grow these things, even though we know as believers in the Nation of Islam that these particular crops are not good for human consumption.
Absolutely. So it all started off, you know, I have to give credit, you know, first, of course, to Allah, but also the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because I watched part 36 of The Time and What Must Be Done. And in there, you know, he's talking about transgenic seeds. He's talking about what's happening with the food supply. He's talking about depopulation. And he says in that lecture series, if you want to learn how to grow on food, go online and search Will Allen Growing Power. So we know you know, this was actually in 2020 when I was watching it. So I did that. You know, I went online, I searched Growing Power. I saw that Growing Power was no longer an organization because, you know, Time Must Be Done was 7 years prior. And but he said find Will Allen. So we found him. You know, we found him. Some believers that just happened to, you know, be going to Milwaukee to learn from him in 2020. So we drove from Chicago to Milwaukee, arrived on a day where he had a bunch of volunteers and just had an opportunity to sit down with him and really begin to learn from him. Throughout the summer of 2020, I was driving from Chicago to Milwaukee to go farm, you know, with this man and learn from him. And if anybody remembers, there was a certain point in time where believers are actually being sent to Growing Power to learn how to grow food. And there was a whole book that came out, you know, from that work that was done at the farm in Michigan, work that had been done like on the side of the mosque, the farm area on the side of the mosque, and that it was a big deal. So he already understood, you know, everything about. He already knew what the Nation of Islam was, you know, what my goals were, and he taught me, and I brought brothers up there to learn as well. And then when the end of the summer came, he said his daughter is actually starting, you know, the same program in the Chicagoland area. So as soon as it opened up, I joined. Her name is Erica Allen. Anyone that's in the Chicagoland area who wants to learn how to grow food, I highly recommend that you look into the Urban Growers Collective. That's the name of the organization now. And you look at their apprenticeship program. They have a growers apprenticeship. They have an herbalist apprenticeship program. And they're teaching the same methods that believers went to Will Allen to learn at Growing Power, you know, the same exact methods. And so a lot of the same methods that we also use at our farm as well. So that was the journey into it. Now it's at this collard greens, because now I know brothers and believers are saying, brother, what about you ain't spraying the collard greens? You're not
right. Get to the collard green stuff.
Get to the green.
He dodging the question. All that's good. But what's going on, beloved? Circular answer.
Yeah. So the reason for the collard greens and the kale, I know we don't eat it in How to Eat to Live, but I'll give you something. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was asked the same question, right? When we had your supermarket. He asked the question, a believer asked the question, you know, why are we selling collard greens if we don't eat collard greens? Obviously asking more respectful than that. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if I don't sell what you eat, how will I get you in here to teach you what to eat? So when you're growing food and you're selling food to people, you have to have what the people eat. Of course, as long we're not feeding pork, we're not going that far. We're not, you know, feeding our people forbidden food. We're not feeding our people alcohol. We're talking about vegetables that we were taught to stay away from. And when they come to purchase the food that they should stay away from, you have other choices of food, right? So, instead of this week with you just getting collard greens, how about you try some onions, right? Have you ever had a navy bean, right? This is how you would prepare a navy bean. Do you like carrots, right? Here's how you do carrots, right? And as they begin to introduce other things into their diet, that's the opportunity. And you would have lost them right out of the gate. You would have lost them if you didn't have what they eat. They'd have looked at the table, say, I don't eat any of this, and then they would have been on their merry way. But as people begin to purchase from you, it's scientifically proven that they will purchase more from you. So you give them what they're looking for, and then slowly over time, you give them better. And eating habits, I worked at a startup that did food delivery, worked with local farmers and sourced food from local farmers and delivered it directly to your door on the same day. And one of the things they taught me, and this is a company that was doing 100 million in revenue a year. One of the things that they told me is like, one of the hardest things to change is someone's eating habits. It's the hardest. It takes time. It's not instantaneous. That's right. So that's why we had the collard greens. That's why the kale.
Well, all praises due to Allah. No, that was not actually. I'm gonna go back and see if I can find that. What was it? Was that a lecture or was that just a conversation? What did you read? With the Honorable Muhammad answered in that way. What was that? I will source that. That was something that I heard from Brother Sharif when he opened there was a video. He opened your supermarket in Atlanta. And
right.
And he was sharing that story. I'll pull that video and send it to you. I know you want to share it with y'all.
Yes, sir. Please, because we want to definitely highlight that. But I think what brother is talking about too, we're taught again from the teachers of the Most Honorable Muhammad, there are 3 core sciences that we were not taught as a people. One of which is the science of business, and that's what I heard. We're in the people business as members of the Nation of Islam, right? Right. Everything, whether you're talking about charity, building business, getting out to the people, our greatest investment or the greatest product of the Nation of Islam is not a bean pie, it's not a final call, it's not, any of these things, it's the believer. So that is what attracts and repels someone else. So when we talk about dealing and trying to get someone to understand where we're coming from, we have to have the proper bait for that fish to come in and then have some level of interest, and then we introduce you from that point on to the rest of what we have that is better. So brother is talking about a system in place to render a certain response or certain output. So again, for all those scientists that feel we're not talking about science, we're not talking about systems, we're talking about all those things in the science of business.
Right. And then also too, if you're a member of the Nation of Islam, there may be other reasons why somebody will grow kale or collard greens or what have you.
Go ahead and teach, bro.
There are agricultural reasons to grow these crops. When Dr. George Washington Carver was trying to help rebuild the soil back in his time, he was asking the farmers to plant peanuts to revitalize the soil, to bring nitrogen and life back to the soil. It wasn't necessarily to eat. It was just to do something for the soil. For collard greens and kale, these can be barrier plants. They can surround your main crop and keep vermin out and different things like that. That's an agricultural, not a secret, but it's a hack in a sense where people can, plant these different things around their main crop and keep all the unwanted things out of their batch. So there's always a reason for something. It may not always be dietary. It may not always be for whatever other reason. There's always something behind it. So I appreciate that insight as to what you're going. Because when I saw the video, I was like, this brother got something going on here. There's no way in the world he's just growing it just to, I'm sure there's a specific reason. So I'm glad you taught on that, bro. You're a software engineer as well. So I see you got the gamer chair in the back. So I knew from your background, man, I knew what time it was. So what's going on, man? So tell us about your software engineering background.
Yeah, so I've always been interested in computers. So when it was time for me to go to college, it just made sense to major in computer science. So went into computer science, graduated, of course, and then from there, began working as a software engineer. typically at larger companies starting out. But then I realized that, not only was I not learning as quickly, I wasn't getting much exposure to the business side of things, right? Because every business has, especially if they're large, they have a technology side of the house, things that help them run the day-to-day, the things that help them provide value. And then they have the business side of the house, the people that are gonna, do the marketing, do the sales, close the deals, and bring people into the platform. And I wanted to understand more of that because marketing and sales is necessary, right? Understanding like customer service is necessary. That's a part of every business, right? Understanding finance so that what you sell, you're making enough that you can continue doing it, right? All of that is necessary.
Right.
So to get more exposure to that, I started focusing more so on startups. So that for this last 2.5 years, I've been involved in startups. One of the startups I mentioned earlier was the food delivery startup. And also now I'm in a real estate startup now as well. And I believe that, farming in the physical world and software engineering and coding in the digital world is one and the same, because the raw materials that we use in the real world came from a farmer, right? The wool came from a farmer that raised the sheep, right? The cotton that we wear was raised by a farmer. So this digital platform that we're watching this on was coded by a software engineer, right? A software engineer had to write the code to give us something to work with in this digital space. So I see them as one and the same, one in the digital world and one in the physical.
Man, this is it's been a powerful episode, man. We have, oh, go ahead, bro.
Now, I had a very specific question. As we have our brother on, he was just making a comment about similarities between farming and the digital space. And as we're on this platform, bro, one of the things we've been thinking about is expansion and things that we can do to further utilize the network that we built, the guests that we've had on. As you've been on the platform thus far, and as you've seen what we do, what we're capable of, and from the software perspective, where do you think we could go as the STEM Files as far as kind of fishing in and creating a sort of, I guess, incubator, if you will, for those with these ideas to be able to meet, grow, and kind of sustain progress in a particular STEM field? Like, what do you see in as far as advancement in that way, and that's facilitating something like that?
Yeah, I'd say, what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, find like minds. That's the first part, right? That's being done. We have like minds. So the next step is to pull our resources that we could solve a problem. So first, figure out a problem that we want to solve. Find a like minds that have the skill set, because that's another key too. We have to have the skill set necessary, or take the proper time to develop the skill set to solve that problem. Right? That's also necessary. So that's where we go next, right? We have like minds, figure out a problem that we want to solve together, find the people who are qualified to solve that problem, and figure out whatever we need to do, whether it's just pulling our skill set, whether it's some of us have more time than ever, pulling our time, if it's pulling finances. But it's a we, it's always going to be a we. It always takes a we. When we talked about the science of business, and that being the science that the enemy didn't want to teach us, we treat business as if it's an individual sport, and it's a team sport. It's absolutely a team sport. When you look at these large conglomerates, it's large teams of people, and they have people on the executive suite that are responsible for these large, teams of people. You have the CEO, which is like the executive director. You have the CFO, for over the finance. You have the CTO, right, or the COO, which is the chief operating officer, which usually has marketing and sales underneath them. So it's all team. It's all team based. So whatever we tackle, figure out what we want to go after, and then pull our resources and do it as a team.
Absolutely.
So, yes, sir, absolutely. Yes, yeah, man. I wanted to get your thoughts on something, man. We like we said earlier, well, like it says on the screen, this is about Black inventors, right? So you're inspiring a lot of people to produce things, right? This product is helping to spark the conversation about invention. Was that one of your goals when you made this product, to inspire people to be like, look, the FOI, and we say this all the time on the STEM files, we're more than just security guards. We're more than just selling the final call on the block.
Yeah.
You know, we're more than that.
Yeah.
What was your initial reasoning, or not your initial reasoning, but when you were really trying to push this product out, was showing the people what we as the Nation of Islam and members of the Nation of Islam can do in other fields? Was that your one of your goals for this product?
Absolutely. If you talk to brothers that knew I was working on it before it got released, the goal of the Bowtie Holder was a culture shift. That was the goal. One of the brothers, we had the path ceremony down in St. Louis, and it was a young fruit, and he said, I didn't know we could invent things.
Wow.
And
now,
if he
said
thought
that, he said that about us, or just in kind of in general?
Just in general, right? So like he's a young fruit, FOI, but he feels as if he didn't know he could invent, right? And it speaks to the importance of seeing a thing, actually seeing a thing all the way to the end, right? And being exposed to that. So I'm getting a little, but
no, take your time.
But yeah. And so that was the goal. It was a culture shift. It was a culture shift. And I'm feeling it because I felt it then when I heard that. Wow. So yeah, that was the goal. It was a culture shift. And by Allah's grace, it's having that effect. What I would say is those of you who see things in the nation that you want to make better, go do it. Go do it. Allah would not give you an idea that you can't accomplish.
Right.
He wouldn't do it. The very fact that you can think of it is evidence that you can accomplish it.
That's right.
You know, some ideas take more people. But there are other people with that idea that if you put it out there, they'll be attracted to the idea because they had the same idea, and you could pool your resources with those like minds.
That's right. Matter of fact, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in the lecture, right, about ideas and how they don't belong to us. And the only time we can really not claim an idea, but really make an idea manifest is if we actually work on them and do something about it. Don't just let it sit in your head and wonder what if. You know, invention is about moving out on it. Innovation is about moving out. If you have an idea in your mind, it doesn't matter if you don't have the resources. Go out and find the resources.
Yeah.
Allah blesses your footwork. If you're serious about it, he's gonna make sure that you get it done. If you're serious about it, you know. So don't get mad if you see your invention coming out of somebody else's mind 5-6 years later. Don't get mad. That's on you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but was that lecture Belief in Allah?
Yes, that was the one.
Okay,
that's right.
Yep.
For I think 2002, I think. That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. And go ahead, Jabril. I see you.
It is. The wheels are turning. You know,
right.
I'm still thinking on the comment. You know, I didn't know. Right. I didn't know we could. And in the organized body, right, you know, it's imperative that those who come in, those who are new, thoroughly understand what they're able to do. You know, we're taught, one of the things I heard, I think the minister say, is that children or babies do what is natural until they are taught what is normal. Now, it is both natural and it should be normal to invent, to innovate, right? But a lot of times you just don't know what you don't know, and you just do what you see. So being one who, again, does something and now you open the door, because it's not like, you know, someone was preventing you from doing something. It was that you were focused on something else so you didn't see, but you needed to see. So now, when you have sparked that in the mind, so now everybody's mind is, okay, bro can do this, but you don't want to get into a situation where now you're comparing yourself. I wish I did this, I could have did that, because the Bowtie Holder is a W for all of us.
Facts, everybody.
Because it says every time I look at a black man, I'm looking at God. So if I look in the mirror, I see God. If I look at you, I see the same thing. So you're my brother. And that's why the best title is brother, is student, is Muslim, because we're supposed to really grow to be happy and want and love for our brothers and sisters. We want and love for ourselves. So that's very important. Um, and I'm so happy that this happened and this kind of chemical reaction happens at the time, because it's what me and Tariq have talked about all the time. And being able to kind of think in our own small way, kind of be a platform that assists in creating that paradigm shift has been important to us, because these are the things that we wanted to see so that we can help spur on a movement that has always been. And I'll end with this as we get ready to close. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said his teaching can be summed up in 6 words: to accept your own and be yourself.
Be
If the
yourself.
original man is the Asiatic black man, make your own or kingdom upon earth, God of the universe, that means that we're inventors, we're mathematicians, we're chefs, we're everything that produces something. We just have to be put in a position where now we can find that purpose and be happy and pursue and proceed to do all that we want and bring all that is in our mind to fruition.
That's right. Absolutely, absolutely. And Brother Malik, did you have anything that you like to say to the audience before we go? And Jabril, thank you so much for those remarks, man. Because we have a we don't want to be in a position where we're inventing something or we're doing something that's monumental and causing a change, and then think we're somehow better than our brother. That's what we don't want. So I appreciate that, bro. But
Yeah.
Brother Malik, please, if there's anything you'd like to add before we go, because we like to keep it at an hour. We don't believe in 3-4 hour long programs, but we like to keep it at an hour. Definitely
That's
have you
good.
come back and talk about some things. But what are some of the last things you like to say about the product, farming in general?
Oh yeah. Thank you to everyone that has supported the Bowtie Holder. Thank you, you brothers, for allowing me to come on your platform. Thank you to everyone who's listening. And all I all I really can say is all praise is due to Allah, really, for all of this, and all the good that will come out of this, and is what has come out of this so far. And know that if we're in our season. We're in our season. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said we're in our season. And we are the ones, who Allah God is going to set on top of the world. And if, you're on top of the world, you have a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of responsibility being on top of the world. So there are going to be problems that are going to come up, as we rise to the top and as we sit at the top. And we're going to have to solve those problems. So, work your vision. That's the best thing I can say. Work your vision.
Sir, work your vision. That's a t-shirt, bro. That's definitely a t-shirt.
Praise be to Allah.
All right. Cool, family. So that was the STEM Files family. We had our brother. It was a very special edition. Now, family, y'all know we usually live at Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Matter of fact, we want to hear from you in the comment section. If you think we should stay at Fridays at 5 p.m., please drop a black fist in the comment section if you think that's a good time for us to adjust to. If not, if you want us to stay Thursday 8 o'clock, we'll stay Thursday 8 o'clock. But family, this has been another edition of the STEM Files, Black Inventors.
Real quick. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
You're good.
I have to thank my wife and my
Come
family.
on now. I wasn't gonna let you leave without doing it.
Yeah. Have to. So thank you to the wife. She's been monumental in helping behind the scenes with all of this, with everything. So
absolutely
have to say thank you to the wife. And thank you to Allah for my wife.
So. Praise be to Allah. And she's in STEM as well, right?
Yes. She's in
Praise be to Allah. Health field. Excellent. So we gotta do maybe a couples episode one time. Y'all can come through together. Just build on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Praise be to Allah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, family. We got some more comments in the comment section. Are you saying, Sister Sabrina, are you saying we should?
I think that's keep it on Thursday.
Right, keep it on Thursday. Praise be to Allah.
Or we might this time on Friday. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, because I was thinking about the time frame. As long as we good before study group, that's what matters. But family, once again, this is another edition of the STEM Files. We had the inventor of the Bowtie Holder, Malik Inkatha. Also, family, if you'd like to purchase this product, please, the link is in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, It's in the description. If you're watching on Facebook, it's in the caption. So definitely go ahead and hit that link and be sure to support your brother. Sisters, if you know your husband's struggling with that bow tie, hook your brother up. Brothers, if you just want the relief, like you just want to be able to know that your bow tie ain't vertical but it's horizontal. You just want to be able to know that. You just want to be able to know that. So family,
want to grow from a believer to a knower.
right. Just knowing it. But family, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the STEM Files. If you would like to support the STEM Files, please drop some coins in our Cash App at the STEM Files. Once again, it's at the STEM Files, or text 770-695-7912 for other donation methods. Family, thank you so much again. Jabril, any last words? Oh, before we do that, tomorrow. So our sis was supposed to be on yesterday, but unfortunately we had to postpone. She will be joining us tomorrow at another special time for the STEM Files. We got back-to-back episodes. She'll be joining us tomorrow, the acupuncture treatment episode. Tomorrow Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, she's going to be talking to us about acupuncture, Chinese medicine, the origins, where it came from, the whole nine. Please tap in at 8 o'clock tomorrow at the same location. Wherever you're watching this, come back tomorrow, 8 o'clock. All right, family. Thank you so much, bro.
Yes, sir. I'm just always so juiced up, I guess, to do my own show, but it's just fire because I learn something every time. I'm so thankful, bro, for you coming on. You definitely, this is your platform. So whenever you have someone that you like to see, a area of STEM you like to see, something STEM adjacent, where it's like, okay, it's not necessarily a personal individual that works directly in STEM, but they are next to and work with the technology, or if you just want to come back. We said this is not just the Nation of Islam, but this is our people's platform to come on and show not only why we are Black in STEM, but that Black is STEM. So until next time, family, Jabril engineer, Tariq Cardiac, our dear brother Malik Inkatha of the Bowtie Holder. This has been the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. I see the bless you. Hold on. We got a question. Is the Bowtie Holder in Chicago for national training?
Let's go.
Yes, sir. We will be at the national training, inshallah.
Yeah. But Elijah, that is a top, Brother Jabril, is a top-notch question. That's the most important question of the night.
Excellent, family. Well, family, thank you again for tuning into the STEM Files. As my brother said, this is the voice of STEM talent, Black culture. Also, if you'd like to tap in with more of our content, visit us at the STEM Files on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Tariq Cardiac and at Jabril_engineer, family. So see you tomorrow. Same place you're watching this. See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. The acupuncture treatment episode. Peace, family. Assalamu alaikum.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them